Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live and a metaphor for your toolbox. And wow, I'm really pumped up and ready to go because this Tolle quote that we had today just blew up in my mind, and I can't wait to share it with you. So, but for those of you who are just tuning in, a metaphor is an idea that contains contradiction or opposites. It's irony. And it contains the opposites like a revolving gate that is both going out and going in at the same time. And that's absurd. So there's an absurdity in metaphor. There's an absurdity when something is both is and is not at the same time. So let's look at that, because Tolle's quote really cuts to the bone on this thing. And so the quote is, "You cannot receive what you don't give. Outflow determines inflow. Whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you already have. But unless you allow it to flow out, you won't even know that you have it. This includes abundance." Now, we throw this idea around all the time. Say somebody loves somebody and they leave, and then they tell, well, let it go, and if it comes back, it's meant to be. So we always have to let it go. But the idea behind that letting go is that if I let it go, it'll come back. So I'll let it go. So it's kind of like a boomerang. Well, if I throw this boomerang, it'll come back. But you see, I'm throwing the boomerang in order for it to come back. And that's really not the way this works, if you really look at it. So let's pull this string out here. Now just empty your mind and don't try to figure out what I'm saying, because I don't know what I'm saying. So just open and let's flow with this and see if we can get to a point of laughter, get to a point of absurdity. And through that absurdity, discover the secret to the gate of now. Now, so I wrote up here, outgoing is incoming at the gate of now. Now, Tolle talks about now, power of now, presence, power of now, non-duality, presence, whatever. The now is, and everybody's trying to live in the moment, live in the now, be here now. This is the mantra of the modern age, spiritual age. Be here now. Nobody knows what it means. It's absurd. The gate of now is absurd. But let's look deeper. So here's my little guy standing at the gate, and it's going in both directions at once. And so that's what Tolle is really saying here, is that you cannot receive what you don't give. Outflow determines inflow. You see? So outflow and inflow are the same. But that's not logical. Opposites are not the same. In our logical, rational, classical logic, thinking, empirical, materialistic world, it's not like Alice in Wonderland. It's not like this card can turn in, is a cotton ball and a card at the same time. But in Alice in Wonderland, the croquet mallet becomes a flamingo. In a dream, the card and the cotton ball can suddenly become the same thing. Switch back and forth. incoming and outgoing are the same. But logically, in our world of time, they're not. They can't be. If they suddenly did, you'd think you were crazy. If suddenly the world of time collapsed into everything, became everything else, there would be no stability. There would be no sanity. There would be no consciousness. There would be no you. You and I, as a center of awareness, depends upon the world being a place where things are put into order. This is why we come into a house and the best TV, this obsession with order, like Monk. Remember that show? I'm the same way. I sit down at the table and the first thing I do is put something in order. Drives my wife crazy. She says, come to dinner. She says, okay, and I go to dinner, but first I have to put this cup up. Come do this, but wait a minute, but first I have to straighten this thing out on the table. Yeah, haven't you ever done that? You know, this idea, you know, a lot of us, you know, and it gets to be a compulsion for some, a compulsive order disorientation, you know, where you can, and Monk was a great example of this, but he could not solve the mystery until he got that salt shaker in place, or until he straightened the picture out, because all he could do was think of that picture. He couldn't hear anything. That picture's not right. Sheldon Cooper. Oh, something is not right. You know, the spot's not right. Anyway, we all get the idea. But the point is, if there is a point, is that the rational world of me and the world depends upon time and the logical separation of every opposite. So incoming and outgoing, that's the same thing. Well, then we try, okay, so then we say, okay, so if I let this go, it'll come back. Okay, that's the boomerang principle. If I throw this thing out, it'll come back. So if I give to charity, I'll get stuff back. So if I give all my things away, I'll get stuff back. So if I do good works, I'll get stuff back. So if I devote myself to helping others, I'll get stuff back. You see, that's the boomerang idea. But this is not what Tolle's talking about. This is not. This is the fact that outgoing is incoming. Incoming is outgoing simultaneously, and you can't bargain with it. So you can't make it happen. If you make it happen, if you want to make it happen, if you want to get the incoming by giving outgoing, you're not really at the gate of now. Because if you are really at the gate of now, the outgoing is already the incoming. You don't have to do anything to get it. You don't have to bargain with it. You don't have to figure out. You don't have to give something so you can get. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. There's no effort. There's no choice. If the outgoing is the incoming, you get that idea. You get that sense that we're talking about something entirely absurd. What do you mean there is no choice? What do you mean I have no intention? I can't try. What do you mean I don't have any choice? So he says here, but unless you allow it to flow out, you won't even know that you have it. Now here's the idea. So flow. All right, so think about, create this little situation where there is some flowing water, and you blindfolded, and you stick your hand in the flowing water, and you feel the pressure. You feel the sensation. Now, how do you know if the water is incoming or outgoing? You can't. All you feel is the sensation, but until you open your eyes, you can't tell if it's outgoing or ingoing, if the water is going out of the tub or coming into the tub. So the gate of now is the sensation. When you open your eyes, now you're in time, and now you're in space-time, and you can see, oh, well, I can see over there the faucet's on, the water's going that way, or it's going, there's the drain, it's going that way. But close your eyes of time, and there's just the sensation of incoming and outgoing, and you can't tell the difference. So at the gate of now, there is no time, and opposites are one at the gate of time. The gate is opening and closing. And at the gate of now, you can't tell which it is. The same way with these a gate and opening. So if you just saw the gate and you couldn't, and your eye of time did not open up, your eye of the story did not open up, so you could see people coming and going, or you could see where the gate was going. If you couldn't see anything, just the gate, you could not tell if the gate was open or closed. It would be both. It only becomes one or the other when we open the eyes of time and place. And now everything is in position in time, in space, you see. But now is timeless and spaceless, in the sense that there is just this. And Zen calls that one taste. And it also calls it, and this is where I got so excited today, because I forgot to put cream in my milk, my coffee. Oh, right there. All right. So I forgot to put cream in my coffee, okay? And I laughed. Now, if I was a serious mind, damn, I keep forgetting. Or somebody distracted me and didn't, so I didn't put my cream in my pie. I'm upset, you see. So anyway, this Dharma gate. Now, in the Bodhisattva vow, there are 4 vows in the Bodhisattva vow. And the Bodhisattva vow is the vow of the Bodhisattva. And the vow of the Bodhisattva is a being who, instead of going to enlightenment for his own enlightenment, stays around to help others. Stays around as a guide. Hangs around to help others. So the Buddha goes up the mountain for enlightenment, but he comes down as for compassion for other people. So the Bodhisattva is kind of like the selfless servant. So by selfless, the Bodhisattva lives at the gate of now. The Bodhisattva lives at the gate of now to help people get through to the other shore. They can't get through the gate of now because we don't see the gate of now as an absurdity. We don't see the gate of now as being both incoming and outgoing at the same time. So we can't get through that gate because we're always caught in a double bind if we don't see the irony of it, you see. Irony is an important word. Irony makes us laugh. Irony is when 2 opposites come together in a laugh. Irony is when the tension of the 2 gates, the open gate and the closed gate. You see, when we don't see the irony of the gate of now, we think the gate is open and we go through it, but we end up by losing. So the gate of now, if not seen as being both open and closed at the same time, is always going to turn into, we think it's open and we go through and suddenly it's closed. Damn. Foiled again. Coyote. Damn, foiled again. I thought I had that roadrunner. Damn, foiled again, you see. The gate never stays open. Every open gate is a closed gate. So that's the law of absurdity here, but we think we can beat it. We think through intention we can come up with a strategy that will get us through that gate and it won't close on us. So we get through it quick before it closes. But we don't see that the gate is closed and open at the same time. So Buddha pointed this out when he said all pleasure is pain. When he said all is suffering, he meant that all the seeking of pleasure is also seeking pain. They're both the same thing. The great Joseph Campbell pointed out that the great mythological question of humanity was that life is death. Life feeds on death. Life eats life. To live, life is death. Now, how do we deal with that? How do you deal with that, you see? So the mythologies were all strategies to deal with this existential awareness that humans are cursed with, that life is death. So we separate it. Oh, life is good, death is bad. Farthest apart we can get them, you see. Way back. Our culture puts miles between, where our whole culture is based on separating life from death. And if any death happens, the whole technology of the culture comes like a first responder to fix it, you see, and make it happen. Never again will this happen again. I'll pass rules and laws. Get rid of that, you see. Death should not happen. Death should not be. That's the way we live in our culture. Death should not be. Somebody dies. That shouldn't have happened. But death and life are one. In this understanding of the gate of now, death is life, life is death. They are one simultaneously at the same time. You see, we just want a little bit. We just say, well, I know simultaneously is an interesting thing, but I just want an inch. I just want an inch of separation between life and death. I just want an inch, you see. So I just went to Washington to see Hedwig and the Angry Inch. My daughter's been an understudy in that play, and she was performing. And right now, I'm seeing what that angry inch means. That angry inch is that one little inch that we try to put in between the incoming and the outgoing so that we will just have a little bit of incoming and not all outgoing. Just a little bit of more pleasure and not an equal amount of pain. Just a little more winning. Just an inch of winning is all I want, you see. Just an inch of an opening in the gate of now so I can get through to the other shore and be free from the ambiguity and the pain of ambiguity. You see? So we just want an inch. Of course, some people, if you give them an inch, they take a mile, right? But we all just say, just give me an inch. But the whole play was about the angry inch because the inch was not enough. The inch was not enough. I want a little more. I want a foot. You see. So we try to pry this gate open, you see, so we can get through. But we can't because the opening and the closing is the same thing simultaneously. Now, when we experience this, we call it a double bind or a lose-lose situation. No matter how I try to get through that gate, I lose. So the double bind is a situation where the truth of now is experiential. The truth of the gate of now is a situation when no matter what we do, we're screwed. That's called the double bind. And it creates despair and depression or anger. When we get in a double bind, we just shoo, explode. That's why what anger happens. If you really start to look at anger, when you get angry or when somebody gets angry, it's because they find themselves in a lose-lose situation, and they lose their ability to choose. When you're in a double bind, or when you're at the gate of now, or let's put it this way, the Dharma gate, all right? So we just, the gate of now, Tolle would call it the gate of now, and Zen would call it the Dharma gate, same gate. When you're at the Dharma gate, you get violently angry. Because at the Dharma gate, where everything is its opposite, you can't choose. If you choose this, it turns into that. If you choose that, it turns into this. I can't get out. It's a straitjacket, you see. I'm locked. The more I struggle, the more tighter it gets, you see. The more I struggle, the more trapped I am, you see. That's classic fairy tale. That's classic that's classic in all of our stings. The sting, if you go back to the movie The Sting, you create a sting in which the person's strength becomes their weakness. They are trapped by their own weakness. Trump is in a sting. He's trapped by his strength is now his weakness. So he's screaming to get out, because everything he does to get out creates the trap. Trump is at the gate of now. He's at the Dharma gate. And he's getting angry because he can't get out. He keeps opening the door. It used to open. My whole life I've been opening doors and getting through and making money and doing deals. And now every time I open the door, it slams shut. What the fuck? You see? The choiceless choice. Krishnamurti talked about that. The choiceless choice is a situation when you find yourself at the gate of now and you're like the Ouroboros, you're eating yourself. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't get out. And it either goes to anger, because when you're angry, you're out. You feel like it. I'm powerful when I'm angry. I'm doing something when I'm angry. I'm making a choice when I'm angry. You see, so anger comes out when we're caught at the gate of now, and the only way out is to get angry. Because in anger, you restore your choice. You restore your power. When you are at the gate of now, you lose power. Power is being able to choose. I choose this. I choose that. What do you want to do? You want to do this or that? Well, I'll do that. Or I do this, but I can't do this, that. You can't do this, that. I drive my wife crazy. She said, do you want asparagus or cauliflower? And I'll, you choose, whatever you want. So that whatever you want is a way of getting out of the choiceless choice, you see. You choose. When my father had a stroke, and he was physically here, but mentally he was unable to make a choice. Go out to dinner. His wife would put the menu there. What would you like? And he would say, you choose. Okay. That's a way of getting out of the choiceless choice. So the Dharma gate is a place where you can't choose incoming or outgoing, opening or closing, because they're both the same, simultaneously. You can't pry them apart so you can get one or the other. Logic fails. And when choice fails, ego fails, center fails, I fail. I lose my center. I lose my being when I can't choose. That's why our culture has gone crazy with choice. We all feel like we're caught in the, double bind. So the solution is to have more choices. Hurt Locker was all about that. The soldier goes to Walmart to get some cereal and he can't make a choice. It's wall to wall, a canyon of choices. So choices keep multiplying. Why? Under the belief that if you have more choices, you can get out of the ambiguity of the gate of now and the terror of not being able to choose. So we just keep adding more choices. Now we're drowning in choices. In products particularly, it's very visible. Go back in time and you find maybe one cereal. Now there are 10 variations of that one cereal and still growing. You see. So every year there has to be a new choice. So you can have the feeling of power. Oh, I'm powerful because I can choose that one, you see. What do you want? Well, I want that one, you see. That one's boring. I had that yesterday. I need a new choice. So anyway, the point is here that the Dharma gate, the gate of now, is ironic. Life is ironic. And life is absurd. Absurd means that you have no meaning. And you don't have any meaning because you have opposite meaning. Is the gate incoming or out? Is the gate opening or going out? You see, that's meaning. What does the gate mean? It means it's going out. Okay, you go out. No, it means it's closing. Is incoming or outgoing? If it's simultaneously both, it has no meaning. Meaning comes because it's this and not that. So, when the collapse of meaning is the collapse of choice of meaning. You get the idea here? The collapse of meaning is an existential crisis because we have to have meaning. Can't live without, it's not peanut butter we can't live without. We can't live without meaning. See? So all of our politics and everything today is really a quest for meaning and the solution to meaning. So if I live in a Trump world, I have meaning according to Trump. Or if I live in a liberal world, I have meaning according to liberal. Or if I live in a Christian world, I have meaning according to Christian. But the Christian world is not the Muslim world at the same time. No, they're different. Christian world, Muslim world. Opposites. Keep them apart. But what happens if they collapse? Muslim is Christian, Christian is Muslim. Where does the meaning go? So, obviously we have to keep it apart. So I can have meaning by being this and not that. So this is that and that is this is the collapse of meaning and the collapse of me. My ego anyway, my sense of self as having a place in the world where I'm meaningful. If I lose choice, I lose meaning. If I lose choice, I lose power. So anyway, you get the play here. The Dharma gate. Now, the core teaching of Zen is the Prajna Paramitra. Prajna is, I talked about this yesterday. Prajna. Prajna. Pra means arousing. Jna means wisdom, knowledge, gnosis. Na. Prashna. I guess that's the way you pronounce it. Na. Gnosis. Knowing. The arousal of knowing. The arousal of the mind. And paramitra is going to the other shore. So prash is the rousing of the mind that goes to the other shore. Now what is the other shore but going through the gate, the Dharma gate. So how do you get through the Dharma gate where everything is the same thing, everything is its own opposite? How do you get through that gate? You get through it with prajna. And a prajna means it's not settling, the mind does not settle on one or the other thing. The mind does not settle on this and not that, or that and not this. The mind does not settle on anything. The mind is pure potential. The mind is possibility. The mind is open. The mind looks and accepts the absurdity, and the mind laughs. The liberation of absurdity is laughter, or Zorba the Greek. Zorba the Greek dances when the truth of the Dharma gate, or the gate of now, comes crashing down. Then all of your plans and all of your best efforts come crashing down on you. And it's on that crash, it's on the ashes of your best plans, of your intention to get through the gate, when that collapses and it shuts, there is where you dance. There is where you laugh. There is where you are free. Because the incoming and the outgoing have become simultaneously the same thing. And you go through the gate. You pass through to the other shore. When you can laugh at the absurdity of trying to string out time and get through the gate of life. In time, you see. So this gate of now means there's no time when it comes to life. Oh, there's time when you want to do something. There's time to go to Walmart. There's time to knit a sweater. There's time to get a job. There's time to have a relationship. There's time to get wealthy. There's time to get poor. There's time to do all this, you see. But that's stretching out the string of time. It's a rubber band. And there's a tension. And the further you pull that rubber band of time that separates the getting from the receiving, the life from the death, the further you pull that, the greater the tension. And that tension of pulling the rubber band apart, that tension of pulling time apart, you see, in creating a world in which we live, a world of time, that tension is suffering, says the Buddha. That tension of pulling time apart is suffering. So when you let go, and you laugh. And you laugh. It's a joke. The whole thing is God is a jokester. The whole thing is a joke. And you say, well, he's mad. The man's mad. The man's lost his nuts, you see. He's cuckoo. He's not logical. He's absurd. He's a comic. So you get the point? The choiceless choice is the Dharma gate. The Dharma gate is laughter. The only way to get through the Dharma gate is to laugh, is to dance, is to be mad. Jake Sully in the Avatar, what does he do when he's caught in the gate of now, or the Dharma gate, where no matter what he does, he's eating himself? He can't be the Navi and he can't be the sky people. He's caught between the double bind. One is the other is one. He doesn't know which one. He says that. I don't know whether the sky people's real or the Navi. Which is the dream? They're both dreams. They're both dreams. What do? He did an insane act. He jumped on death. He jumped on the last shadow. Life became death. Death became life. As Jesus said, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, if a seed falls to the ground and does not die, it stands alone. If it dies, it bears fruit. I think that's the way it went. So a lot of the wisdom teachings point to this very thing. Unless you die, you don't live. Well, what does that mean? Oh, does that mean I have to die in order to live? Okay, well, that's a strategy and it won't work. See, because that's assuming they're separate. If I do anything to get to the other shore, if I make any effort to open the gate to get to the other shore, it won't work. Because they're simultaneously closed and open at the same time. So you can't open something to get somewhere if it's already thing. You see, that's where he's told. We'll end up with Tolle's here. He says, but unless you allow it to flow out, you won't even know that you've got it. So, the letting go is the knowing that you've got it. The letting go, the dying, is the living. You won't know that you are already dead unless you, in other words, the Grateful Dead. The Grateful Dead, see. The Grateful Dead is basically a metaphor for the death that is living and grateful. I'm grateful that I'm dead because now I'm alive. I'm alive and dead at the same time. I'm always dying into living simultaneously, not separate, because if you separate it, the separation is an inch of intention. I'm going to have an inch or a mile or 50 miles of intention to get from here to there in time, you see. But we're simultaneously there and here at the same time. This is all the mystical poetry. When you arrive, I think T.S. Eliot, at the end of all of our exploring, we arrive at where we begin and see it for the first time. We arrive at where we begin and see it for the first time. The beginning and the end is now. Everything in life is now. But in mind, we pull it apart in time so we can catch a bus and make stuff. And we need that. But at the same time, what we need more desperately is to be now and to be complete and to be at rest while we're still moving. This is called in yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, the inaction in action, the stillness in movement, where the opposites are one simultaneously. And that cannot happen intentionally or through effort. It can only happen spontaneously. We call that grace. Grace can only happen when you give up the intention to get it. But how can I do that? I want it. I don't feel it. Well, I can't feel it until I stop trying to get it. So first, there has to be the giving up, but you can't give it up in order to get it. Double bind, trapped. The Zen cone, you see. Okay, folks, thanks for dropping in. And I hope this has shed some light, it did for me, on what the Dharma gate means in the gate of now and the absurdity of the choiceless choice. All you can do is laugh. Break out, laugh. Thank you for dropping in.